Welcome to another episode of Beautiful, Bad and Bizarre. Today we're here in Brighton to remember the life of the wonderful actress and possibly the most underrated star of the Carry-Ons, Patsy Rowlands.
Have a cockle. Much better for you.
Oh, do you think I ought to? I mean, I've heard that shellfish do very strange things. In a sex way, I mean.
Really? Ooh, let's watch him for a bit then.
Patsy Rowlands became one of Britain's most beloved but possibly most underrated comedy and character actresses. But beyond the stage and screen, very little was ever truly known about her. Patricia Amy Rowlands, Patsy to us all, was born on the 19th of January 1931 in Palmer's Green, North London. Some sources claim she was born in 1934, however this is incorrect, she was born in 1931. She was the daughter of Albert Rowlands, a butcher, and Amy Beatrice Lydia Shillinglaw. It appears to be undocumented as to whether or not she had any siblings, but from the beginning there was always something quietly remarkable about her, a spark that didn't need to shout. As she got older, her parents encouraged her to take elocution lessons, thinking it might help her improve her chances of getting work later on. It would be her elocution teacher at the Sacred Heart Convent School in Whetstone who first spotted her potential as an actor and suggested that she try for the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. She applied and, at just 15, she won a scholarship, coming top in the country, which is pretty incredible. It was a moment of quiet triumph, the kind Patsy would repeat throughout her career, never loudly, never boastfully, just with quiet excellence. By the 1950s, she had fully embraced a life in the theatre. With musical theatre being her great love, Patsy's first professional role came in the chorus of the touring production of Annie Get Your Gun in 1951. It was the beginning of a steady climb, always understated, always genuine. In 1958, she was cast in Valmouth, Sandy Wilson's cheeky musical set in a spa town where the elderly found a rather spirited second wind. The show opened at the Lyric Hammersmith and later transferred to the West End in 1959, marking her official debut. It also hinted at the kind of comedy that would become her signature, just the right mix of respectable and risque. Sandy Wilson always spoke fondly of Patsy and said she was unique, sweet, funny and ridiculous in the role, in the perfect way. There's a great story from the night when Princess Margaret was in the audience. Let's just say not everyone was thrilled about one of the songs that Patsy was apparently singing to a moving fish. I've not heard it myself, so I have no idea what it was all about, but the newspapers the next day kicked up a bit of a fuss, saying that the song Patsy sang was disgusting and Princess Margaret should not have been subjected to it. The censor stepped in with the compromise that Patsy could sing the song, but only if the fish she was singing to was definitely dead and completely still. I now really want to hear that song. That same year, she took part in One Way Pendulum, a surreal and inventive play by N.F. Simpson. Directors began to take notice. Patsy didn't fit the mould of a conventional star, but she didn't need to. She had something special. Her performances were subtle, often scene-stealing, and always genuinely human. Yet despite her growing success on stage and screen, Patsy remained a deeply private person. Throughout her life, she rarely gave interviews. There were no glossy magazine profiles talking about her private life. She let the characters do the talking and kept her personal life firmly off stage. Even as her fame grew, she never courted the spotlight, and that's why today's piecing together of her biography is like assembling a puzzle with half of the pieces missing, not because she didn't live a full life, but because she chose to keep most of it hers and hers alone. 1962 would prove to be a pivotal year in the life and career of Patsy Rowlands, one that marked both personal milestones and professional triumphs. That summer, Patsy found herself working alongside none other than Sir Laurence Olivier, one of the greatest actors of the 20th century. The occasion was the London production of Semi-Detached, a darkly comic play written by David Turner, directed by Tony Richardson. The play had its premiere on the 8th of June 1962 at the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry. At first, the lead role was played by Leonard Rossiter, another rising talent at the time. But when the production transferred to the Savile Theatre in the heart of London's West End, it was Olivier himself who stepped into the role, adding star power and prestige to the performance. For Patsy, sharing the stage with such a legendary figure was not just a career highlight, it was a turning point that showcased her growing status as a respected character actress in British theatre. 1962 wasn't just about professional breakthroughs. That same year, Patsy made a significant personal commitment. She married Malcolm Sercombe, a man whose life revolved around music and theatre, just as hers did. Malcolm Sercombe was born in 1934. He was a talented writer, composer and musical director. A Cambridge University graduate, he had developed a keen interest in the traditions of old-time music hall, a world rich in history and theatrical flair. It was in this environment that he met Patsy. Their shared passion for performance drew them together, and soon they became not only creative collaborators, but husband and wife. Together, the couple had a son, Alan, and for a time balanced family life with the demands of stage and studio. But like many theatrical unions, the pressures of their careers and personal differences eventually took a toll. By 1967, just 5 years after their wedding, Patsy and Malcolm went their separate ways and officially divorced. Though Patsy never remarried, her life remained full, dedicated to her craft and to raising her son. Returning to the early 1960s, Patsy Rowlands was steadily carving a place for herself among Britain's most reliable and compelling character actresses. With her unique blend of warmth, wit, and emotional depth, she was fast becoming a familiar presence both on stage and on screen. In 1962, while still fresh from her success on the West End stage with Olivier in Semi-Detached, Patsy appeared in one of the most beloved British films of the era, A Kind of Loving. Directed by John Schlesinger, the film was a cornerstone of the British New Wave, telling a raw and realistic story of working-class romance, regret and responsibility. It starred Alan Bates as Vic Brown, a young draftsman navigating the emotional minefield of unexpected marriage, and June Ritchie as his complicated bride, Ingrid. In this emotionally charged setting, Patsy played the role of Dorothy, offering a grounded performance that added realism to the story's social landscape. In a quieter role perhaps, but one delivered with the kind of authenticity and observational brilliance that was fast becoming Patsy's signature. And of course there was the unforgettable Thora Hird, playing Ingrid's domineering mother with such force and brilliance that she nearly stole every scene she was in. Patsy and Thora shared screen time in this film, laying the foundation for a warm professional relationship that would span many years. Their chemistry was instant, and it's little wonder that they would go on to work together repeatedly throughout their careers. If you're a fan of Thora Hird, by the way, I have a dedicated video about her life and work right here on the channel. You'll find the link in the description below. So, in the same year she was treading the boards with Olivier, Patsy was also contributing to one of the most culturally significant films of the decade, a film that perfectly captured the emotional struggles of post-war Britain and offered audiences a more honest look at love, marriage and societal expectation. And if A Kind of Loving revealed Patsy's talent for quiet realism, the very next year would show off her gift for comedy and farce. In 1963, Patsy was pregnant with her son Alan while she was filming the comedy A Stitch in Time with Norman Wisdom, Pat Coombs and the lovely Vera Day, among just a few greats in the film. Also in 1963, she was once again drawn into the orbit of director Tony Richardson, this time stepping into the colourful, irreverent world of Tom Jones, a film that couldn't have been more different from the grey industrial backdrop of A Kind of Loving. Based on the bawdy 18th century novel of Henry Fielding, Tom Jones exploded onto the screen with a kind of wild energy. It was cheeky, it was stylish, and it was unlike anything British cinema had offered before. At the centre of it all was a young, magnetic Albert Finney as the roguish Tom Jones, a man of many lovers, many scrapes, and even more charm. Patsy played Honor, the feisty and loyal maidservant, injecting her scenes with the kind of comedic spark that audiences had come to expect from her. Her performances, though supporting, were sharp, memorable and perfectly pitched amidst the film's madcap tone. And the cast, what a cast! From Dame Edith Evans to Susanna York. The film was a parade of British screen royalty. To see Patsy holding her own in such exalted company was no small achievement. It marked her as a performer who could effortlessly bridge genres and styles, from stark realism to high farce. Working again under Tony Richardson, who had just directed her in the theatre a year earlier, added a sense of continuity to her growing career. Richardson, one of the leading voices of British cinema's creative renaissance, clearly saw something special in Patsy, casting her in back-to-back projects that would both become landmarks of 1960s film. Tom Jones would go on to win 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, becoming a global sensation and a defining film of the decade. For Patsy, it wasn't just another line on her CV. These back-to-back roles in A Kind of Loving and Tom Jones demonstrated her extraordinary range, whether grounded in gritty northern realism or swept up in Georgian-era mischief. She had the presence that always felt right, always felt real, and was always distinctly her. But it was television that brought Patsy into the nation's living rooms and hearts. With expressive, wide eyes and a natural flair for timing, she became one of the most recognisable supporting stars in British comedy. She could do more with a sigh, a glance, or a pursed lip than others could do with pages of dialogue. Already established as a talented actress, in 1969 she joined the merry madness of the Carry On films, beginning with Carry On Again Doctor, making her debut as Nurse Fosdick. Over the next several years, she appeared in 9 of what I would define as Britain's best-loved comedy films. Whether she was a flustered wife, a beleaguered secretary, or a nervous nurse, she always played her parts with warmth and subtle wit. In Carry On Girls, her character, Mildred Bumble, made a memorable feminist stand, shedding her dowdy image, burning her bra and marching off with the women's liberation movement, an unforgettable moment of quiet rebellion, played for laughs but delivered with conviction. Yet Patsy was never just a carry-on girl. She became a household favourite as Betty, the long-suffering, meddlesome neighbour to Sid James in the hit sitcom Bless This House. Her chemistry with the cast and her impeccable sense of comedic rhythm made her a perfect fit in the cosy television world. She moved between sitcoms including Hallelujah with Thora Hird in 1971 and films like Please Sir. She would also have a role playing a landlady in Roman Polanski's dramatic film, which I absolutely love, Tess, which she played with ease. Patsy Rowlands made her final appearance in the Carry On films in 1975, playing Linda Upmore in Carry On Behind. Attempts were made to bring her back to the series, but Patsy gracefully declined. Speaking at the time, she said, "The Carry-Ons became a cult because of how they were made and the people who were in them. We couldn't recapture that spirit. These days we have alternative comedy. It's a completely different kind of humour. That's progress, and I wouldn't want to stop it, but it wouldn't suit the Carry-Ons." After the Carry-Ons, Patsy remained in high demand, with more credits that can be listed here. I'll mention a few of my personal favourites though. Her 22 episodes in Bless This House, 28 in The Squirrels.
I don't know why you don't take a drunk. You know, it's absolutely amazing that after all these years, I never realised that underneath that dirty old cardigan, Beau Brummel was struggling to get out.
Appearances in The Dick Emery Show, George and Mildred, Robin's Nest, and yes, 5 episodes of the beloved children's TV series Rainbow. In 1993, Patsy had broken her ankle while working on stage. While she was in hospital, Les Dawson phoned her, asking her if she would play his wife in a new show. Tragically, Les died of a heart attack just less than a month later, on the 10th of June 1993. Patsy was said to be devastated at the news of his death. Away from the bright lights of stage and screen, Patsy Rowlands had another creative outlet. She was a devoted admirer of Claude Monet and the French Impressionists, attracted by their ability to capture light, mood and fleeting moments with their delicate brushwork and emotion. Inspired by their mastery, Patsy became an accomplished artist in her own right, working primarily in watercolours and pastels. Painting was a world where she could retreat from the demands of performance and express herself on her own quiet terms. Although I've not had the pleasure of seeing her work myself, I have read that her works often reflected a sensitivity to nature, atmosphere and colour, echoing the very qualities that drew her to Monet in the first place. And this wasn't simply a private pursuit. Patsy's artistic talent gained recognition beyond her circle of friends and colleagues. In a significant achievement for any artist, professional or otherwise, she succeeded in having one of her pieces accepted into the prestigious Royal Academy Summer Exhibition. Held annually in London since 1769, the Summer Exhibition is one of the most celebrated and competitive open art shows in the world, attracting submissions from thousands of artists each year. For Patsy to have her work displayed there placed her not only among actors and entertainers, but among Britain's serious artistic talents. It was a quiet but proud moment in her life. Proof that her creative spirit extended far beyond the stage and that her artistry in all its forms was truly multifaceted. Patsy Rowlands' final stage role came in 2001 as Mrs. Pearce in My Fair Lady at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. It was during this production that Patsy was diagnosed with breast cancer, something she kept private, not even telling her fellow cast members. Despite the pain, she continued to give her all, night after night, never missing a beat. In an interview in 2002, talking about the Carry On films, Patsy would say how proud she was of being part of the films and how much she enjoyed working on them and the camaraderie. She said that Kenneth was a dream to work with and that Sid James always looked very dapper, whether on the film set or not. By then, she had long since made her home in East Sussex. She lived here at Flat 7, Westview, The Drive, and later at Flat 3, 44 Brunswick Place in Hove. Patsy had planned to retire from acting and begin teaching drama. Sadly, that dream was never realised. Even when she was obviously seriously ill, she was still telling her friends that she would soon be back on her feet and at the gym. In late 2004, she moved from her flat to spend her final days in the Martletts Hospice in Hove, where sadly she passed away on Saturday, January the 22nd, 2005, just 3 days after her 74th birthday. Patsy was survived by her only son, Alan. A private family funeral was held at an undisclosed location, and some months later, at noon on Friday the 29th of April 2005, a memorial service took place at the Actors' Church, St Paul's in Covent Garden, London. Family, friends and colleagues gathered to celebrate the life of this incredible and much-loved actress. Her gentle humour had lit up both screens and hearts. Patsy Rowlands' agent, Simon Beresford, remembered her fondly. She was from the old school, trained in musical theatre and high drama. That's why she worked with the great and the good of directors. He added that Patsy had no problem being known for the Carry On films because she thoroughly enjoyed making them. He described her as an absolute favourite client and praised her unwavering professionalism, saying, "She never complained, especially not when she was ill. She was an old trooper." But Patsy left behind more than just her film and stage credits. She left behind laughter, warmth and kindness. She didn't need the spotlight to shine. She found richness in the quieter, more grounded roles. She was a neighbour with a knowing glance, the secretary with a dry wit, the wife with a weary shrug and a hidden spark. And for that, she wasn't just remembered, she was adored. Thank you so much for joining me in remembering the life of the wonderful Patsy Rowlands. If you ever met Patsy or have memories of her, please do share them in the comments. Her private life may have remained a mystery, but it was always clear how deeply she was loved. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I so look forward to meeting you again in the next one.